This is coordinate geometry, or this might be 2 in some syllables. So we are no more interested in that, but we are interested in the understanding of the concept. Well, that is what we do on this channel. You solve past questions, right? Past questions, pure math question, for you to see what is happening on the channel. So under this one, we are going to look at equations of what? A circle, right? So under the coordinate geometry, we are going to look at what? Equations of what? A circle. Now, we have almost 3 different ways of writing equations of a circle, depending on the information available to you. So the first one that we look at is what? When you have the center at the origin, right? The center at the origin, the radius. You see, you know some of these things before mathematics came to the existence. So when you get the names of this thing, in my opinion, that's my opinion, right? So when you get this thing, you should know that you try to understand the image behind the name. So what is the origin? What is the center? What is the radius? What does it mean? That is what you need to focus on. Now they say if you have a center and the origin as well as the radius, which equation? How do you write the equations of the circle? Okay, so if you think this thing doesn't make sense to you at your level, maybe I think yours is just study this thing and pass your exams and move on to the next level of your education, and then they leave this thing for the advanced mathematician, whereby they can apply the theory in your daily life. So the equation of a circle, not to think of a circle that you can think of a wheel of what? A car, right? A vehicle. You can see maybe it is in circular form. So maybe anything around you that is in circular form, you can even think of how they were able to get that thing in that circular shape, right? Maybe the lid of your cooking utensils, or whatever you can think of, anything that is in circular form. How were they able to get that thing in that shape? Okay. Now, let's continue our lesson over here. Uh, Now we are having the center and the radius, right? The center and the radius. Where that center is the most important thing. That determines the type of equation that you have to use. So if you have the center at the origin, so what this thing means is that a center at the origin is just simple that, okay, let's use this as scenario. So I have a nice scenario that we can use to get that. Is that okay? So let's check that scenario. So the scenario is that, consider this one to be, let's say you are in your house, right? So assuming you are in your house over here. So here you are in your, maybe a nice picture here, right? A nice picture, you are in your house. What I use that for us to determine where you are right now, let's link that house to be your center, right? Currently, your current location is your center here. So if you are in your house, then it means that you are at what? 0 0. The 0 0 here is the x and y in what? In that equation. Let's assume that is there. This x and y here, whatever I'm having here, determines your location, where you are supposed to be, right? Is that okay? Okay, imagine it this way. So your location, your house currently, where you are right now, is your center, the 0 0. Is that okay? Then for us to determine your location, okay, assuming you move from your house to your school, right? You move from your house to your school. So assuming, for us to determine your location, where you are, we need the x and y, right? We need 2 things. These are the 2 things. The 2 things, we don't need 1 thing, but let's assume that you cannot walk by just one leg, right? Even, excuse me to say that, if you are disabled, you need another support to do that. So assuming you are walking by two legs, is that okay? So we need these 2 things to determine your location. This is your house, and then for us to know where you are, it may be anywhere. So assuming that, let's limit ourselves to your school. So assuming you move from your house to your school, then for us to know your location, we need these 2 things. The 2 things are the x and y. Is that okay? Let's limit that to for understanding purpose. So we need the x and y to determine your location. So that's what I'm having. So x and y will give us your location. Is that okay? And then the red marker is what? Your distance. The distance from your house to your school is the r. So these two things, your location will help us to determine your distance. Is that okay? Your location, this location will help us to determine your distance. So the distance here is what we represent by what? R, right? So the distance from your house to your school is what we are representing what? By R. I hope that is very, very simple. Is that okay? So your center will be your location, your current location, where you are. If you are in your house, then it means that you are at 0 0. Then when you move from your house to your school, for us to determine your location, we need these two things. Is that okay? And these two things, the x and y, help us to determine the distance between where you are and then your house. I hope that is very simple. Now, so if you are at what center at 0, 0, it means that you are in your house, right? It's the same as the center at what the origin and the radius. This is what you have to use. You have to use this equation to determine what the equations of the circle, right? Everybody that is around or equal distance from where your house or where you are currently. So you need to use this equation. This is x squared plus y squared is equal to what? R squared, right? That is when you are in your house. Is that okay? And then let's check the next one. Now, if you are not in your house, that may be in another situation. Is that okay? If you are not in your house, there's no way you can use this equation, right? Maybe due to one or two things, then you move here to maybe your friend's house, whatever, anywhere, right? Is that okay? You move from your house to this point, but we know that this is your destination. You are supposed to be here. This is where you sleep, right? You are supposed to be here, but due to one or two things or some factors, you move from that house to a different location. Is that okay? So for us to determine the equations of the circle, if you are not in your house, in that case, if you are not at point 0, 0, if you are not at the origin, then we use this type of equation, right? We use this type of which says it is almost similar, right? This a and b is just the movement that you are making from here, right? The movement from your house to this point is the a and b, a comma b. Is that okay? The movement. Remember that for us to determine the location, we cannot use just one thing. We use two things to determine your location, which is what? The x and y. So for us to determine your current location, if you are not in your house, then you use a and b. That's the distance from your house to this point. So simple and short. So to summarize everything here, you know that if you are in your house, we use this equation, right? If you are at your origin, this is what you use. Is that okay? If you are not at your origin, then this is what you have to use. Cool, right? This is what you are going to use x minus a all squared plus what y minus b all squared is equal. These are the rules that you have to know. I know that you understand the meaning of the rule. You just need to obey that. Let's say scenario says that if you are hungry, go and eat. That's a simple rule for you to be satisfied. So you just need to understand this and that. Those are the two things that will help you to write the equations of a circle. Is that okay? So out of this one, we get a general one. So that will be for another video, right? So that will be for another video. Let's look at some scenario, a simple scenario for understanding purpose over here. Now let's say currently you are let's say you are in your house, so you have the center to be at what 0, 0. Is that okay? Right? You have the center to be at what 0, 0. Now fine, you want to write the equations of the circle with the point, maybe your current location. So if you are in your house here, then you move to maybe a school, right? You move to your school here. Is that okay? You move, or maybe your current location. For us to determine your current location, we need the x and y. Remember I said that we need two things to determine your location. So assuming you are at 2, 2. Is that okay? Then let me bring on the traditional one. So this is our coordinate system. This is what we call a coordinate system, right? So the coordinate system, to my understanding, simple understanding, that determines a location where you are. So let's assume by assumption. So here is 0. I have 1 here. I have 2, and then 3. Here should be -1, then -2, and then as well as here should be 1, and then 2, 3, and then -1, -2, and so on and so forth. Is that okay? Now here will be your house. This house here, if you are here, if you are the origin, here will be what 0, 0. Remember, we don't just use one point to determine one thing. We use two things. Those are the x comma y to determine any location. So if you are here, you are at 0, 0. That means that you are the origin. So if you take any distance, what is the distance for us to determine where you are, your location? Maybe let's say in school, right? For us to determine that location, we were told that you are at point what 2, 2 for us to identify you. So this will be the x, and then this will be the y axis, right? So I have the first one goes for x, this one goes for s, and this one also goes for y. Is that okay? So always the first one is for the s, and then the second one is for the y, unless the otherwise. So I have 2 on the x here, and then let's determine the second one for us to know exactly where you are. So let's move on. So I have a 2 here. So you are here. Can you see that? This is your location. Is that okay? This is your location. We know that you are here. This is your house, and this is your current location. Perfect. Now let's move on. Then the third thing is the distance, right? For us to know the distance between your location and your house, that is the R. That this is the R, right? This is the R. So that's the distance between your school and what, and your house. Okay, very perfect. Now you are having a point. They say you should write the equation. This is the your location, which is the point what, 2 2, and then you are the origin. The center is what, 0 0. So let's see how you get that equation. So you have the another point what, your point, your which is your location, to be what, 2 2. Okay, they say you should write the equations of the circle. Which equation are you supposed to use? Since you are the origin, you have to use this equation. Is that okay? So that gives me s squared plus what, y squared is equal to what, r squared, right? So that is the equation. Now for you to be able to use this type of equation, you have to know that everybody, where are they coming from? Where is this guy coming from? Where is that one coming from? Where is this r coming from? So all that you need to do here is that to get your r, then you are free to go. So how do you get the r? How do you get it? You take a square root of that, you take a square root of everything here. So your area will be equal to square root of this and then square root of that, right? So that will give me a square root of what, s squared plus what, y squared. Is that okay? Then I get my r, because we need to get the r for you to replace the r squared over here. So this will be, this x and y are your location over here. So I'm having what, r to be equal to square root of what, s is 2. Can you see that from here? S is 2 plus what, and then y, which is also all squared. This one squared, and then this squared, based on this formula. So this will be equal to square root of what, 4 plus 4, which is equal to square root of 8. So what is this 8? This 8 is the r, right? This 8 is the r. So you have r to be equal to what, root what, 8. Is that okay? Now let's write the equations of the circle. We know that the equation of the circle has to be in this form, right? Since we are the origin, so we maintain the x and the y over here, and then you replace, you find the r squared, right? You find the r squared. So what to be, this is the r. What to be the r squared? Is that okay? So for you to write this equation perfectly, so that should be what, s squared plus what, y squared is equal to what, r squared here, but not r. You've already find the r to be what, root 8. What do you think will be the r squared? So maybe you can put everything here. So root 8 squared. This is the r, right? R squared. Can you see that? So the equations of the circle is x squared plus y squared is equal to root 8 squared. That is just the simple equations of the circle. Is that okay? So whenever you are not at the origin, then you have to go for this formula. Is that okay? You have to go for this type of equation, right? So you saw some examples on this one, so you may check that videos in our descriptions. Is that okay? So if you have any questions, don't forget to drop a comment under our video section, and then don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more simple questions and in-depth understanding of the mathematics text like this. Thank you.